And welcome back on this Friday morning. Thank goodness it is Friday. 62, 63 degrees out there. What a beautiful morning it is, and a beautiful day it should be, with great temperatures today, close to 90 degrees or reach that 90, full sunshine. So get out and enjoy a beautiful day today. Tomorrow, pretty much the same thing. We only got about anywhere from 10 to 20% chance of those showers, so hopefully we won't see any rain for a couple days. Then it jumps up to 30% on Sunday. The rest of the forecast not looking bad at all for next week. There it is, staying in the 90s.
McDonald and Associates, the man with many phones, and
He only has
probably,
one.
you know, I would probably classify you knowing, keeping more about what's happening in the market here, not just real estate, but the pros and cons of anybody I know in this part of the country.
They study it.
Well, thank you.
That, and you pay me to say that, but I do appreciate it.
No, he does not.
But I mean, I just saw where housing is, the prices increased 12.2% in some major cities that were really flat over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Will that start rising here too?
I think so, but you know, one thing that I think happens here is we don't see necessarily the peaks that you see in those big cities, but the good news is we don't see the valleys either. Some of those big cities in Phoenix or places in Florida and California, when it goes up, it's really up. When it's down, it's really down. Not so much here.
Now, like you talked about last week, we're always behind the curve with California and stuff like that. What they went through a couple years ago, we're starting to see now.
Right.
From a negative standpoint.
Right, yes. Well, we have been for a while now, yeah. Past
But you see it going on for several more years.
Well, yes, I do. I see people being underwater for several more years, yes. Now, there are comebacks in some of those areas, especially when Phoenix, and it's adjusting itself. It probably went lower than it should have gone, and so it's correcting itself. But like I said, in North Alabama, it stays a little bit more stable, not the peaks.
Well, Stan, explain how people got underwater. Did we buy our houses at the peak, and now prices have plummeted?
Yeah, it was
what happened to get underwater?
It was a double whammy, is what it was. It wasn't one thing, it was two or three different things. The first thing was you had what they call easy credits. Lenders were happily lending money, what they call 100% loan to value. And so people were buying houses, and they also, not only did they buy at 100% loan to value, but they they lowered their standards so that people who didn't even have jobs or who weren't even required to substantiate that they had an income were able to buy $200,000 houses. There was probably some, fraud's a strong word, but it's probably appropriate. There was probably a lot of that going on. There was probably, and then the other thing is the prices were way too high. So you had prices that were appraised values that were inflated, and then you also had people borrowing 100%, and the two were both just too high. So when the housing prices started going down, there's underwater. And then when you had a little bit of blip in the you started having joblessness in 2008 and uncertainty in the market. That really exacerbated the problem, and before you know it.
So it was more than a double whammy.
It was like
Yeah,
three
it really
different
was.
factors.
It was maybe a perfect storm, actually.
The perfect story I remember is this lady said she was a part-time personal trainer. I think it was Kansas or City or somewhere.
Okay.
And she got financed for a townhouse that was like $200,000.
Right.
Her income was like $12,000 a year. They said, well, don't worry about that. Well, she had to move out in 3 months.
Yeah, a lot of people feel like that type of problem was, and I don't want to get conspiracy here on this show this morning, but it was just induced almost. I mean, you throw opportunities like out there for some people, and the system-wide, everybody's trying to bring in all the home buyers and all the loan money they possibly can, and it was nationwide, and it created an absolute debacle.
So now
what did we say? If you had a pulse, you could get approved for a loan.
And we bought several houses too. Fortunately, at the time, we were able to pay for them, and we flipped them or kept them for a year and then got rid of them. Now what's happened, people are in this property they bought when you're talking about at the peak, and the employment and everything was better. Things have gone down. Now people are stuck underwater, and there are over probably 10 to 15,000 homeowners, just like somebody you know, in either Madison, Limestone, or Morgan County, in all the counties, but these three mainly, right here, who are underwater. Do not file bankruptcy.
Right.
You don't have to be foreclosed on.
The lenders know exactly what's going on, and they find themselves in a situation where they really do not want to foreclose. It is very much not in their interest to. And if you will approach them through us with our assistance and be proactive, there are ways to work out a much more satisfactory solution, which is known as the short sale. And you can go into it trying loan modifications, but oftentimes when homeowners look at all their options, they end up with a short sale. It's fairly difficult to navigate. It's what I mean is it takes the professionals like we have trained in our staff in Madison locally, and a homeowner can end up staying in their home as long as they need to in order to selling it even though they're underwater or have negative equity without any loss to themselves whatsoever. And actually, if they work with the lender pretty good, then there's a chance they're going to be paid moving expenses or transition fees. We closed one 2 or 3 days ago where the person who was selling it was way underwater. They got all their debt forgiven. They were given a $2,500 check at closing.
Get out.
Yeah. And it was a very, very good situation for them, but it was a win-win-win situation. The buyer bought a house at less than retail value. The lender was very happy.
They didn't get stuck with it.
They didn't have to eat the house.
Yeah,
now most people are going to say, Stan, that sounds too good to be true.
Yeah. Well, let me put it like this. You know, it's not too good to be true during certain seasons. I don't know how to explain this.
You're in the season now.
Sometimes if all the conditions are just right and you go fishing, you catch so many fish, it's too good to be true. It's because we are, what you just described, we are in this time, this season where we're on the aftermath of this lending bloat that occurred. And these lenders, it is very much against their interest to foreclose. They want other alternatives. Yep. So if you know how to ask the right questions and approach them properly, and a lot of people have, I started to say if you got the right condition. Yes, if you got the right condition, but a lot of people are in that condition. A lot of people are underwater.
But isn't it embarrassing to be in a, I mean, it shouldn't be, but because you maybe feel like a failure. You haven't been able to make that payment despite all you've been able to do.
It's like a lot of things.
That's why y'all have a counselor there too.
Right. That's right, yeah. It's like a lot of things, Jamie. I mean, sometimes, yes, when you've either made mistakes or some form of it, maybe not the best possible judgment, the best way for something really good to happen is to at least take that first half step and say, well, you know what, I got more of a problem than I can really handle myself.
There's a graceful exit.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's a good way to put it.
There's an easy way to get out of it. Do foreclosures stay on your record forever?
Well, not forever, but what seems like forever, probably about 7 years.
Okay.
And if someone short sells, it's a whole lot less than that, depending upon how early we catch the situation. We've worked with people before who we had to stop a foreclosure that day.
Yeah, we all know that story.
Yeah, but we work with some who, we'll see this show and they say, uh-oh, they haven't even missed a payment yet. But as long as they're in what would be considered imminent default, or they may have some life circumstance that's universally recognized as problematic, like a job loss or divorce or something like that, then if they start early, then the lenders will work with them in such a way where it'll be almost no problem to their credit.
I know we talk about that every week up here with Stan and McDonald and Associates, but they truly can't help y'all. I guarantee you, somebody in your neighborhood, a relative, or somebody you go to church with who's underwater, and they may not have told you yet, and they feel maybe ashamed of it or embarrassed about it, but they can get out of this, just like we just told you, with no foreclosure, no bankruptcy. All you got to do is call Stan and the folks that work for him at McDonald. So local, these are local people. And I see a lot more, you get a lot more competition now, Stan, nationwide. Call this 1-800 number.
Right.
Call 325-1143. Tell them me and Gloria told you to call them. Or call us. We'll personally guarantee what they do. They're good folks to work with.
Well, when we first met with them, a lot of times when we're up here pushing something, we want to meet with you to know exactly what you're doing, make sure we're telling everybody who watches us faithfully the truth about it. But another thing I wanted to hit on, all these short sales, wouldn't that be a great deal for someone who's looking to purchase a home? I mean, a great opportunity to get a great deal? It
is. I mean, just by very nature, by definition, a buyer is buying a house at less than retail value. It's the very nature.
Yeah.
One other thing, I know you all the time, but you talked about the housing debacle. These beach properties, these condos, because of the way financing was on that, there's viewers that are underwater in their beach condo or their condo at Gatlinburg also.
Can y'all help with that too?
Those, absolutely.
Don't have to be right here.
It doesn't have to be right here. No, it's.
If you have a mortgage, it's
If you can find me a steal on one at Gulf Shores on like the 18th or 19th floor at the beach club, or like under $300,000.
No.
And they'll swap some river property for it.
He'll be moving there by himself.
We'll talk afterwards.
I may be moving. Anyway, thank you, Stan. McDonald Associates, y'all give them a call. Good folks, guarantee
They
it.
are.
Go local and loving it with Lonnie this.
Well, where is he?
Let's go to a break and we'll come.
Well, I don't know where Lonnie is.
Wait a minute. I don't know where he is. Let's go to, let's travel down Ricketts Road. I guess when you got to go, you got to go. Let's travel down Ricketts Road right now. We'll be back in a moment. We're up to Hazel Green. Y'all hang on.
I'm Jamie Ricketts. I've been wearing the bearings out, running up and down these here roads. Y'all come on with me, see what we can find.
This is Jamie for Ricketts Roads. Today we're in Hazel Green, Alabama. I'm here with Mr. Tate. Dewey, how you doing today,
All right,
man?
Dan, how you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there, man. What you
We're
got?
working hard. We've been making these great birdhouses right here, man. I've been set up. I cut them out.
Hey, I tell you what. Let me pick. Can I pick one of these up?
Yeah, man.
Look at here. He's making these birdhouses. You can get them custom with Auburn,
We got
Alabama.
the Tennessee ones over here. We got the Purple Martin birdhouses. We got these really nice bird feeders I've worked real hard on right here too. They're really great to feed the birds with.
Well, Dewey, tell us now. How did you get started doing this?
I started about 5 years ago, man. I got laid off from a job I was doing roofing houses. I had a bunch of lumber at home, so I had the blueprints. I started cutting out birdhouses and making them. I've been set up here on the highway.
Now we're here on the highway right down from the Tennessee-Alabama line in Alabama at the Ace Hardware. There's a lumber yard here, and they've been real good to you, haven't they?
Yes,
They set you
sir,
up
they
here.
got me set up, got my little workshop that they got set up for me. And the guys on the yard do real good. They look out for me and they throw me an extra board here and there to help me make out my birdhouses with.
Now people can call here, and I'll put Ace Hardware's number on the video right here. You guys can call, and you can have Dewey custom make y'all a birdhouse. It can have your name. It can have your favorite team. Ain't that right, Dewey? Can we do that?
I customize a lot of them.
Do you know what kind of price you got on these fancy
They
birdhouses?
only $10 a piece.
$10 a piece for a customized
I
birdhouse.
got some that ain't painted if you want me to paint them a certain color.
Well, let me ask you another question here now. I see something you don't see much anymore. You got a three-wheeled bicycle over here.
Yeah, man, that's my ride. That's where I haul my birdhouses and my lumber on the back of that bike right there. And all my tools I load up. Haul all my stuff back and forth from my house down here to Ace Hardware.
How long does it take you to get to work on that bike?
It takes about 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, that ain't too bad.
No, it depends on how fast I'm pedaling.
Well, hey, I tell you what, dude, I really appreciate you letting me come out here and talk to you about your birdhouses. And y'all, you folks, give this number here a call and get y'all custom-made birdhouse. Now, what's the name of your company now? What are we calling it?
It's the Tate Birdhouse Incorporated.
Tate
Y'all
Birdhouse?
can check on the website. You can look on there.
Oh, you have a website?
Yeah, the guys at the radio station got me a website.
So what is your website?
It's gofishradio.com.
So they go to gofishradio.com,
Yes,
and they'll
sir.
find you on there, Tate Birdhouses?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Dewey, it's been a real pleasure here in Hazel Green, Alabama. You guys give them a call, order your birdhouse. $10, you can't beat that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Dewey.
Thank you a lot, man. As if it ain't a Tate birdhouse, it ain't a great birdhouse.
You heard it from the birdhouse professional right here. If it ain't a Tate birdhouse,
I'm known as the mayor of Hazel Green.
the mayor of Hazel Green can make you a professional birdhouse. Thank you again there, Dewey.
Thank you
Have
a
a good
lot,
brother.
man.
Thank
It's
you.
been great, man.
All righty. And we out of here.